This is an amazing time to build a business. Never before have we had so many different software packages with single purposes available to us. Best-in-breed software that costs a fraction of what it once did. The trouble with that is you need to have these different pieces of software talk to each other. Well, that's where Zapier comes in, the Swiss Army knife of integration. And in this video, I'm going to tell you all about it. So stay tuned for that. Zapier is an amazing piece of software that is designed with a specific purpose. Its objective is to integrate as many different other pieces of software as possible. And it does this with a very simple paradigm. There are two concepts you need to know when you think about Zapier. First, you need a trigger, and the second, you need an action. The trigger is an event that occurs that begins the integration. That's an event that occurs maybe in another system, or an action is taken. An action is what you want to happen. Here is an example. On your website, you might have a form. Somebody fills out the form. That's a trigger. When they fill that form out, you want their information to go into your CRM system. Creating that contact in the CRM system, well, that's an action. Trigger, action. There are many different ways you can use Zapier. You can have a form go into a CRM. You have a contact from a CRM go into a Facebook audience. You have a contact in a CRM, send out a text message. An online sale can be recorded in QuickBooks. A new project starts, a sale is closed. Maybe you set up a project in Asana. Once you set up the project in Asana, maybe then you set up a project in Harvest to capture time information from your team. And the amazing thing is Zapier supports thousands of different systems and integration points. All the systems you're used to using can communicate with each other through Zapier. Let's get into this. Here's what we're going to do. A contact. Somebody arrives at your website. They're going to fill out an online form. We're going to take that information and we're going to put it in the CRM system. We are then going to send an SMS text acknowledgement through call tracking metrics, or the system used for texting and call tracking. After that, we are going to take that contact and we're going to put them in a specific Facebook audience so that our Facebook ads can now retarget that contact who just took some action on our website. And we're going to do all that right now in Zapier. The Zapier system starts out with a very simple dashboard. It gives some recommendations, some suggestions for you, but we're going to go straight into Zaps. There's a big giant button here that says make a Zap. And now we have the concept of trigger and action. The Zap starts with a trigger. Say for example we have a WordPress site that's using Gravity Forms. I can choose my triggering application to be Gravity Forms. And the triggering event will be a new form submission. It's going to give me a URL to use. Within Gravity Forms, I'm going to paste that URL. It's the submission URL in Gravity Forms. Now that I have a form that's sending a URL to the Zap, I can update it and then I can test it. Now that I've tested my form, I can go into Zapier and see the data. And I have some test data in. Now I need an action. I'm going to add this into my CRM. We use a tool called Infusionsoft as our CRM, but any of the major CRMs out there, HubSpot, Salesforce, they all can be integrated with Zapier. And I'm creating and update a new contact record. The next step is to map the fields that came in from the form to the fields in your CRM. Now that you have those mapped, you run a test and you move on to the next step. All right, now we're going to send a text message. We use a piece of software called Twilio to send our text messages. So I'm going to use Twilio in this example to send a text message to the person that just filled out the form. And I might send the person a message that reminds them to check the email, because maybe I send a more comprehensive message in email, but I send a link to some other piece of value within the text message. And then I'll test that and continue. Finally, I need to add this contact into one of my Facebook audiences. I'm going to choose Facebook Custom Audiences, and I'm going to add this email address into the custom audience. Now, depending on how you've set up Facebook, you may have one or many audiences. I'm choosing my Content First marketing account, my Facebook account. And for fun, I'm just going to choose the John's New Contacts audience. But you'll probably have a specific audience to this form and this campaign that you'll use for ad campaigns. That way your retargeting is very specific. An audience of people who filled out a form should get a different ad than a retargeting ad that somebody gets if they just showed up at your website. And I pull the email address directly from the original Gravity form, and I move on. So now I've created a Zap. I have a Gravity form. That Gravity form sends the contact into a CRM system. It then sends that contact a text message, and finally it adds that contact into a Facebook audience. All of this in one very simple thing called a Zap. I publish it, and as soon as I publish it, it's live. And that contact will move from the website into the CRM, get a text, and into my Facebook audience. There are many, many things you can do with Zapier. It's an incredibly powerful piece of software. We use it for all aspects of our business, from lead acquisition to project creation to contact follow-up to services delivery. It ties together at least a dozen of the systems we work with. And I think you'll find the systems that you work with are also supported in Zapier. If you have a system that you're unsure about, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear what that is. I will send you a message back if I've worked with it before. If you have some questions about this or want to learn more about Zapier in more detail, let me know that in the comments as well. I can do a much more detailed video if I have an idea of the things that you're seeking. I appreciate your time today. Again, I hope this is helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.